Let's start the show by talking about my new sponsor, Paloma Verde Store. Head over to palomaverdestore.com for all of your CBD needs. They've got the CBD gummies, topicals, the salve, sports cream, soft gels, the tinctures. They've even got pet products. I love this stuff. Having gone to a night shift recently and having trouble sleeping during the day, it helps mellow me out and put me right down whenever I need to get some sleep for the day, so I'll be refreshed for my night shift. And Carlos and his wife Vanessa are awesome people, so I highly recommend go over and check out palomaverdestore.com for all of your CBD needs. And when you get there, if you enter in the promo code FACTS, you get 25% off anything in the store. Plus, if you sign up for the email, you get an additional 10% off. So that's potentially 35% off on your first order. And all orders over $75 are free shipping. So go over to palomaverdestore.com and check it out. This episode will be completely taken out of context. Welcome to the Fact Check This podcast. All right, Fact Check This podcast, episode 64, and I really don't have a whole lot to talk about today. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the news, and I've been kind of looking through all of it, and I just don't have a lot to say about any of it right now. I still got a little more reading and stuff I want to do. Contrary to what some might think, I actually do read a whole lot, and I look pretty thoroughly into a lot of the stuff that I talk about before I talk about it, because I want to make sure that I am doing it right and that I'm getting stuff right. I don't call it Fact Check This podcast to sit around and be inaccurate on stuff, and anytime that I do think I'm may not have the correct take, or that there's a possibility that something I'm saying might be wrong, or is more of an opinion-based type thing, I try to be very upfront about that and say, if I'm wrong, please tell me that I'm wrong. So, with some of the stuff that's going on in the news today, I got several different articles pulled up over here on the big screen, and I don't feel like messing with it today. It's just not the way I want to start my week out. But I did want to get into a little bit of something that I didn't get into at all at the time of it, and that's not necessarily the Oscars, but what's been going on in the entertainment world. So I really didn't talk much on the Oscars because I just don't care. I have never at any point in my life actually watched the Oscars. I don't take the political or social commentary from actors and movie producers, Hollywood types, athletes. I just don't take any of it seriously because they don't live in the real world. The world that they live in is completely devoid of reality and doesn't even come close to touching the everyday lives of normal Americans, normal human beings, pretty much anywhere on the planet. They are in that top 1%, every single one of them, and their opinions, as far as I'm concerned, just don't matter because they don't live in the real world. They are separated from reality, and so I've never cared what they had to say because what they have to say has absolutely no bearing on me in any way. And people who are taking political and social advice from entertainment types, you're just dumb. I don't know how else to put it. These people have no impact on your life in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You make the conscious decision to give them whatever power that they have. So ignore them and move on with life. There's no reason that we should ever give any of them attention beyond, if you want to see a movie, go see the movie. And if you don't, then don't. And if you want to watch a football game, watch the football game. And if you don't, then don't. It should really be that simple and that easy. But, one of the things that has been coming up regularly has been all of the wokeness out of Hollywood and professional sports and athletics and everything else, and just the entertainment world in general, music, everything entertainment world related has become super woke over the past several years. I mean, it's been kind of a slow crawl and then a sudden burst run. Like over the last 20 years, it was progressively getting there, and then it's like they saw a finish line and just took off full sprint to hit it. I have kind of tuned out a lot of. I used to watch a whole lot of movies. I still have a massive movie collection. I used to really pay attention to stuff a lot more. Go to the movies regularly, and I've just kind of started tuning that out. Same for sports. I used to be super into the NFL, the NBA, even to some extent Major League Baseball, uh, college college sports, college football, college basketball. Like I was all into that, and I've just kind of hit a point over the last several years where none of those things matter anymore, and I don't pay attention. I just don't care. And a big part of the reason I don't care is because none of those things actually have any impact on my real life in any way. Like they're fun escapes from reality, but I can escape from reality in much better ways than that. I've got bookshelf after bookshelf after bookshelves of just full of plenty of stuff that I can escape from reality with anytime I want without having to be subjected to the crazy woke bullshit. And that's so I've kind of tuned all that stuff out. But at the same time, here over the last several months or so, I've started to watch shows again a little bit more. I've kind of hit a point where I need I need something that I can sit down and just put a movie or a TV show on and kind of zone out for a while and let my brain turn off. And that's the great thing about television is you can just turn your brain off and be a zombie for a little while. And and yes, there are definite downsides to that. Like there are people who that is their life. They are zombified from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. And like for me, it's I think I use it in a healthy way, but some people don't. And you know, there are downfalls to everything. But with that being said, I've started watching different shows and stuff here lately, and some of them that have gotten significant levels of like buzz and critique and for varying different reasons are one of them in particular is the recent Marvel show Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I thought I thought the show was very well done. Like uh, I guess there were some complaints about the show being exceptionally woke in the early portions, and I didn't really see that. The way they portrayed, uh, I won't give out any spoilers in case people have interest in watching it and haven't yet, or whatever. But the way they portrayed a particular character, it was considered to be very very woke and taking on racial issues in kind of an extreme way. But if you were paying attention to the show and the way they portrayed it, they handled that character very well. And they handled his historical context as a character really well. He was a it's a black super soldier who came post Captain America, and the way he was treated or mistreated by the government and the military and so on. And like I guess I could see how that could be portrayed as being like super woke, but at the same time, you have to look at it in a historical context of like where he exists in the history of the United States and where he exists in the history of the Marvel universe. And he is a legitimate character from the Marvel comic book universe as well. And they portrayed him very well with his role in all of that, and it was very well done. His character was well built. His ideology and kind of, to an extent, anti-Americanism was very well rooted and well done. And the way the series progressed, Tim Pool and other people have done reviews of it that are much more lengthy and in depth and better than what I'm gonna just kind of ramble off here briefly. But at the end of the day, it's America versus Antifa, and America wins. Like that's kind of what it boils down to. And I will give away a big spoiler, but if you know anything about the comic books, then it's not really a spoiler anyway. But Falcon ends up taking up the mantle of Captain America, and it's a really moving, very well done thing of having a black man become Captain America. And I'm sure it pissed off the woke crowd because he gave in or whatever. But the way they explain it, like, it could and should be viewed as a path forward for the country and some of the division that we're in right now. It was a very, very well done series. And it kind of surprises me the pushback that it got, because it addresses the issues, but it also, like, it addresses the issues in a real, understandable way. That if you're paying attention and you're not just bogged down in woke BS, you can see how those are real issues. It also addresses solving those issues in a real way, that if you're not bogged down in woke BS, you can look at it and say, yes, like, this is how we move forward. So I thought it was exceptionally well done. I also just got done watching the new Netflix series, Jupiter's Legacy, which it's a different take on. There have been a bunch of different comic book type of shows that are a little less Superman, Captain America, rah rah rah, the heroes are always the good guys type thing, and have looked at superheroes in a slightly different light. And Jupiter's Legacy has some takes on that in a slightly different context and way. One of the things, like, for all the pushback that Netflix has gotten for being super woke and all of that stuff, in the very first episode, excuse me, in the very first episode, they legitimately refer to Antifa as Nazis. Like, it's pretty hilarious. And also the show has prayer. Like, they gather around the table as a family to have a prayer before they eat supper. It brings, some family values and also family conflict. And, like, it's another I thought, very well done show. I am not familiar with the Jupiter's Legacy comic books, so I didn't have a reference point for comparison as far as that goes. But as far as the show itself goes, it was 8 episodes. It does a good... Dang. Let me grab a quick sip of the Lorenzotti coffee. Go over to lorenzotti.coffee and enter the promo code FICTION to get... I can't remember what the discount is, but you get some money off your order, and also it's really, really good coffee. So, and that supports friends of mine, both in the podcast world and the coffee world. So it was a very well done show. Like, it was 8 episodes. It was short. It does a good job of building the backstory and kind of explaining where the main characters come from. It also does a good job of building the current story and where they are and what's going on in their universe. And it also ties their universe into our universe. Like, there's a lot of, especially in the first episode, like, you get to see that it's kind of current day. It's kind of modern event type stuff. And that's where the Antifa, they don't actually say Antifa, but they make reference to the groups marching in the streets and refer to them as Nazis. And then one of the other characters says, "That's not what they call themselves." He said, "I don't care what they call themselves. That's what they are." So I thought that was hilarious. But like I said, they also had a prayer, and like it's a really well done show. I know there's some critiques of it, and like I think one of my biggest issues is there's always critiques of stuff for whatever reason, and I think for me, I approach all of these different shows at face value of what is it and what is it doing as far as being a show. I'm not looking for a bunch of cultural, social commentary stuff like that. I'm not like like for instance with the Mortal Kombat movie. Excellent movie. Full of fan service and just bloody, gory fights and craziness. And no, it didn't have some brilliant plot. It wasn't like beautiful, well scripted dialogue. It's a Mortal Kombat fight movie. Like it's everything you want. If you want to sit down for 2 hours and just watch people beat the ever loving hell out of each other, it's exactly what you want. And there are critiques of that, like because it wasn't some masterful work of art. I mean, like photography wise, like the pictures and everything, and the way they did the graphics and the characters and the costumes. Like, what more do you want? That stuff was awesome. So I don't get. I read some reviews, and more often than not, I just laugh at the reviews because they seem like they're completely out of touch with reality. And I wish these studios didn't make stuff based off of these moronic reviews that want everything to be just chock full of social commentary and BS. I want stuff that is entertaining on its face and good to watch. The last one I'm going to touch on before I'm done, there was I guess it's still not was, there still is a Netflix series called Utopia. And Utopia approaches it's a group of friends who know each other from online. They're not real life friends up to this point. They know each other from online from looking for this comic book. And the comic book is like a conspiracy theorist's wet dream. It has like everything. If you look at the pages, it lays out all of these things that have happened over years and years and years. And there's a new one that's been discovered. And so it's all these friends trying to come together to find this comic book, not realizing that there are a lot more real world implications for this comic book than what just a group of collectors thinks it is. And so the big theme of the series is there's also this new pandemic that is striking, that is making people sick and die. And it takes on the story of this pandemic and the vaccine or the cure for the pandemic. And it gets into some conspiracy theorist type stuff that people like me just eat up. I highly recommend it. If you have Amazon Prime, go find Utopia and watch it before they take it down, because a lot of the stuff that's covered in the show, it has been canceled and will not get a second season. And the reasoning was because they said Amazon didn't understand timing in the release of this series. It's like, I don't think it had anything to do with not understanding timing. I think the series hit the nail right on the head, a little too close to home. And a lot of the people who are involved in driving the COVID narrative with the vaccines and everything else that's been going on for the past year, that show hit a little too close to home, and they were worried people were going to watch that and look around and say, "Oh, that looks like what we're going through right now. Maybe we should be thinking about this a little harder." I strongly recommend finding Utopia on Amazon Prime and giving it a watch, because I bet it'll get you thinking a little bit harder too. That's it. That's all of my ramblings. I ended up going a lot longer than I intended to with this rambling today, but hopefully you got something out of it. My favorite movies and shows of the past couple months have been WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Jupiter's Legacy, the full 4-hour Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. It makes that garbage Joss Whedon Justice League look pathetic. Mortal Kombat was an excellent movie if you just want to watch people beat the crap out of each other for 2 hours. Like I said, Utopia. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and if you approach it without looking for woke BS, and if you can approach it without trying to find some deeper meaning and just take the stuff at face value and have fun with watching the show, you might get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I know I have been. Hope everybody has a good day. Hope everybody has a good week. I will be back Wednesday to actually talk about what's going on in the news and have something useful to bring to the table. Maybe. If I ever have useful things to bring to the table.